My name is Benjamin Walden.
Matthew Lee Jones.
And we're here with creative director Sean Dunn from THQ, and we will be discussing the game Homefront that's releasing here. And basically, the first thing, we just barely got out of a demonstration yesterday, which totally blew us away. We were just talking about it on our outro yesterday, basically, of how blown away we were. The biggest thing that we saw, and one of the best factors that we saw from the game was the why we fight moments. Can you kind of give our viewers what that really is?
Sure. Well, one of the premises behind Homefront is that we want to display the human cost of war. We really want to show what it's like from the perspective of the civilian. It's rarely touched on in games. Is what happens. What is the cost of all the killing and all the fighting and all the violence and stuff. And we're not trying to get preachy about it or anything. It's just it's something that doesn't get played up much. So the why we fight moments are really about showing how life is in this occupied America. So when you saw in the demo, there was the area where there were children on a swing, kids sleeping in the house. They're making food, they're collecting water, they're collecting sunlight, whatever, for power. It's really those are the things that you're fighting to keep. It's not about winning the war. You're not one guy that's going to go through and win the entire war by yourself. But we really want you to have an emotional connection with the civilians and the characters throughout.
Yeah, we definitely got that.
And that's really the biggest purpose behind the why we fight moments.
With that, especially trying to get in touch with all the characters and that sort of thing, he began the demonstration off with, it's going to be an unfamiliar America, basically. To touch a little more on that, can we hear about what kind of locations we're going to see?
Sure. So basically the premise starts off in central Colorado, and you make your way from Colorado to the west coast to San Francisco. So there'll be several locations along there, suburbs, city areas, and we actually end up at the Golden Gate Bridge. So,
how do you think the gamers are going to react to it being such an immediate place? Like something familiar. How do you think they're going to react to that?
Well, I think that's that's one of the reasons why we really wanted to do this game. It's like we've seen so many games that are in some nameless country. Everything is desert, or it doesn't resonate that much for me, at least. And the idea of going into a suburb and seeing the unique shape of a cul-de-sac, and then seeing razor wire around it is just it's an interesting juxtapiposition,
Yeah, because
it's like being able to fight in a house and going through these houses. It's like it really, when we use that term, it's the familiar becomes alien.
Right.
We really think that the setting is selling on that.
Yeah, because when I was watching the preview with Ben here, after the first initial trailer of it, when it first started showing, I leaned over to him and I said, "That's kind of scary, man." And to be introduced to the why we fight moments right after that kind of gave a little piece afterwards too. So I really like how you guys are playing with the emotions on this.
Yeah, it's really, that's been the fantastic thing about having John Milius work with us, is that, with game writers, we have an idea of how to move a narrative forward in an interactive setting. But I don't think as an industry we're very good at selling emotion in games.
Yeah.
And Milius, from Red Dawn and Apocalypse Now and Conan's, he lends that ability to make these characters feel and make us care about them. You saw in the second part of the demo, after the white phosphorus round burst, and there were enemy soldiers on fire and resistance fighters on fire. The woman that's with you, Rihanna, she's not a soldier, and she's almost paralyzed by the horror of these people burning. She's telling you to put them out of their misery, and this other character, Connor, who has just a core hatred for these North Korean soldiers, he wants to let them burn. And so we really want to give those emotional senses to the player, letting the player kind of, it's not really about choosing one way or the other, but it's about experiencing that it's not all just, you know, shoot, shoot, shoot,
Right.
forward. So it's really important for us.
It's the reality of war.
It is.
Which definitely through the trailer we had seen that, and especially with the composition and the music elements that you had in there, definitely pulled us in for sure. The other thing that we really wanted to ask was, what other things, other than just the storyline, are you doing to uniquely identify the game from, say, Modern Warfare 2 and other first-person shooters on the market?
Well, I mean, I think we're at the point now, especially with the first-person shooter genre, that the way that you innovate is through your story and setting. You know, we're not going to mess with controls and things like that. We really want it to feel very familiar to that Modern Warfare player. We think they nailed their control system. The place where we want to innovate is within that storytelling element. You know, there are some areas, like you saw with the drone, the Goliath drone that's in there.
That was really
You know, we want to give players cool and fun things to do. It's like we don't want to get too caught up in our own story that we don't make the game fun. It's all about making a fun game. It's an entertainment experience. But we have a ton of really, really exciting innovations in our multiplayer. We can't talk about it yet, but we'll be revealing it all at Gamescom in Germany.
Wonderful. Do you have any other questions?
Oh no, I'm good.
All right,
You guys
well-
are making a great game.
Yeah, definitely blew us away. So, well, thank you so much, John. And thank you for joining us at E3 2010. This has been Sean from THQ, and thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right.
That was great, man.
We're looking forward to it.
Hey,
Telling you
do you want to give him a